So just in recent times, I've seen more and more artists join Twitter, artists and photographers. So I thought it would be a decent time to make a video talking about some of the strategies and tips that photographers and artists can use in order to build a decent following on Twitter. I've been on Twitter for a couple of years. It was always my secondary platform. I always mainly used Instagram, but I've been there long enough to kind of learn what works. I don't have a super massive following, but I do have about 15,000 followers at the moment. So if that is enough to trust me, then please continue watching this video. I think it's pretty interesting that American Twitter users were always kind of, even if they were photographers, they would just never post photos for some reason. They would just text tweets, like trying to be like these political influencers on Twitter. But on the Japanese side, it was a lot more common to see photographers just kind of use Twitter like Instagram was used. It's not until recently that this has also switched over to like the Western side of things where people just post photos. And with that, the tip number one is to post really high quality galleries of photos, preferably 4 photos at a time in the correct crop. In Twitter, I've noticed that what brings you followers is those tweets that go really viral. So it's a lot better to post one tweet that is really high quality and just get as many retweets as possible than it is to consistently post mediocre tweets every day or several times a day. So that's probably the first way that it kind of differs from Instagram. You go viral once, and that is what brings you the bulk of your new followers, usually on Twitter. Whereas on Instagram, you just kind of consistently get on the explore page every time you post and get like 100 every day. On Twitter, you just get one viral tweet every once in a while, and that brings you thousands of followers at a time. And then you get very little on the other times. So it's a bit of a different strategy in that sense. Now Twitter, even though it's been rumored to change soon, at least now there's kind of a randomized crop on Twitter. So when you post photos that are in portrait crop and you post 4 of them, Twitter is just gonna randomly choose and you cannot control it, which is really annoying, which is why it's better to post 4 landscape photos. Generally, it is better to post 4 photos at a time. That just tends to be what works best. You kind of give the most value, and you can have this sort of a gallery feeling to your post instead of just a one photo. Usually it's never just one photo. If you're gonna go viral, usually it's just 4, but it can also be 2 or 3 photos. But when you're posting 2 or 3 photos, you also gotta mind the crop. If you post 2 photos, they're gonna be cropped like this. If you post 3 photos, the first photo is gonna be in portrait, and the next 2 ones are gonna be in landscape. And the preview crop really makes a difference when you're trying to get a tweet that really goes viral in a way. Second thing is that hashtags really are not as important as they are even on Instagram. Avoid using too many hashtags, avoid seeming spammy. It is a lot better to not seem spammy than it is to use too many hashtags. You can use a couple, don't use them in the middle of the tweet or you'll look like a boomer. Use them at the end of the tweet and kind of try to separate them, and don't use more than, let's say, 3 or 4. Preferably 0 if you're really trying to like get a super big tweet. Usually it's better to use 0 for some reason. Getting features from pages by tagging those pages can work, but it requires a very specific style of photography and a very specific page, and there's generally less like feature pages on Twitter than there is on Instagram. But if you do find some suitable ones that have a decent sized following, they can work. For me, I post a lot of stuff about Japan, so there's some pages about Japan that I occasionally tag that have brought me a decent amount of followers, and these are pages that I also like and follow back myself. Which brings us to our next point. It is, well, just as important on Twitter as anywhere else really to kind of participate in the community and give back as much as you take. So, very easy to do this is simply by retweeting work from artists that you do like. Don't just be a taker, also give, and that is going to, you're gonna get the returned favor if your work is worthy of it. So And one thing I would suggest is try not to be too annoying. Don't post like too many pointless random tweets, at least if you're trying to build a following. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you what you can and can't say on Twitter. I'm just saying that if you're trying to like seriously build a following as an artist, then maybe like limit those pointless tweets where you just say like, I went to the grocery store today and bought some bagels, and then even don't post a photo of the bagel. I mean, try to limit those kind of tweets to maybe 1 or 2 a day. Don't just endlessly spam random stuff into the void. And this might be controversial, but also don't talk about politics if you're trying to be an artist, because I like Twitter for photography, but for politics, it's a complete cesspool. I hate it for politics. You just get into endless fights. It's completely pointless and it's very annoying. I don't really want to hear what you think about politics. If I follow you for your pictures, maybe have a separate account for that. And again, this is from the perspective of purely of trying to build a following. If you wanna, participate in politics, that is up to you. I'm just saying it may not be the best strategy from a pure numbers perspective. Another thing that can be kind of annoying to your followers is just retweeting every single compliment that you get, because that just causes the timeline of the person who follows you to be like an endless stream of you congratulating yourself by retweeting everyone who says a good thing about your photos. I've seen some people who have big accounts do that, so I don't know if there's like a motivation behind it, but personally at least I find it annoying. Maybe take that with a grain of salt. There may be some sort of a strategy behind that, but yeah, there's two sides to that coin. My point is just don't be too annoying. But also you gotta have some sort of a personality. Can't be just a robot that posts photos, even though there's literally an AI bot called Archilect or something like that who literally just posts photos without ever saying anything, and it's a very popular account. But generally it's a good idea to have a certain mix of personality and certain mix of art. One of the best ways you can of course inject this personality into your Twitter feed is by having the word caption be something other than here's a photo that I took on this day, on this date, on this location on this date. Now of course I'm someone who breaks my own rules all the time. Sometimes I like stuff about politics, sometimes I just post not the highest quality stuff all the time, sometimes I don't put any captions, sometimes I make stupid tweets. But I'm just saying that if I really wanted to grow my account, I wouldn't do any of those things. I would just couple times a week I would post a collection of my best 4 photos in the correct crop, and then maybe tag 1 or 2 pages, or maybe not, and just try to keep the quality as high as possible every single time that I tweet. And this way I'm sure my page would grow at a much bigger pace than it is growing currently. So anyway, if you are new to Twitter, I hope these tips will help you as an artist or as a photographer to get more followers on Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and also a thumbs up, and that's the same thing. Also a comment, and I'll hope to see you in the next one. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.